Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Daniel, and today in this video we'll be covering a Lichess training game I played on August 12th. My Lichess rating at the time was 24-25, and this game was actually against an international master. So let's take a look at what happened in the game. So I'm playing black, as I mentioned. So here my opponent played queen to g3 check, and then I played bishop g6 blocking. Here my opponent went queen to f2. Trying to maybe get into like a7 and try to maybe soften up the queen side situation here. Of course, my opponent does have the 3-on-2 on the queen side, so maybe that could benefit him. Here I play queen to e6, attacking this pawn here on e5. I'm not too worried about queen a7 right now. My queen is defending the a6 pawn, which is kind of the weakest link in my position, so I should be okay at the moment. Here my opponent plays queen to e1, just simply defending this pawn. And here I play queen to f5. Better here was actually queen to g4. Queen to g4, the idea here is we're trying to get into sort of g2, attack the king, and this should bode well for us. And also we're putting some pressure here on this h4 pawn. And if you want to keep an eye on both the g2 threat as well as h4, so you want to play queen to f2. Queen to f1, then you drop off this pawn. And then here, I have a lot of options. There's a lot of flexibility here. Keep in mind, I do have the bishop for the knight, so this is a bit more advantageous for me. I do have ideas to maybe like swing the queen around to like d7 and then try to get it on the back rank, stuff like this. Currently there isn't like an exactly visible threat yet, but this position still looks a bit better for me. So instead, I actually play queen to f5 in this position. The reason is because I want to get queen to c2. And then I'm still keeping an eye on this e5 pawn. At some point, I could take it. And here, my opponent actually goes wrong with queen to e2. Correct move in this position is actually playing the move a4, just completely ignoring queen to c2. And after queen to c2, then simply playing king to a3. Just hiding the king here beside these pawns, and with this knight here defending. There's actually no checks for black in this position, and then sort of white just tries to make progress on the queen side. However, in the game, my opponent defended this threat with queen to e2 instead of the move a5. Play queen to e2 here, defending the c2 square. Keep in mind b1 is defended by the knight, so that's why I didn't really mention it as my main threat. However, here I do have the move queen to f4. The idea with queen to f4 is that we're attacking this h4 pawn. And secondly, if you go back, queen to e1 to defend this pawn, then now I have queen to h2 as an entry point to try to get at the king. So pretty much you're going to have to lose this h4 pawn, because if you don't, and if you try to defend it, then I get queen to h2 check. And then these pawns block white's king's mobility. And then combined with this bishop here on g6, black should be able to win the game via like queen to c2, attacking the knight, and something like that. So here my opponent plays knight to d5, attacking the queen. Here I just take the pawn, queen to d2, and here I come back, queen to e4. Now I'm again forking two things, threatening queen to b1 check, as well as threatening the e5 pawn. Here my opponent goes back to c3, defending the b1 square. And here I simply just capture another pawn, and as you can see, now I have 3 pawns on the king side versus none, and I have these 2 pawns which can blockade these 3 pawns here. Keep in mind, white does have a doubled pawn here, so in a sense currently these 2 doubled pawns just serve as 1 pawn in a sense. So here my opponent plays a4, trying to get some counterplay. Here and here I just simply play h4, just completely ignoring what's happening here on the queen side, because if you take, then after takes, then these 2 pawns are going to be blockaded. This queen supports this pawn, so that the knight can't actually take right now. Also, the knight is pinned. And if you want to attack this pawn again, then you have to play queen e2, where I would simply just trade queens, and then I would have these 3 pawns, which would pretty much lead me to a very easy win. So this game, very nice like execution at the end there, in a very nice end game. Applying a lot of pressure with this bishop and this queen sort of coordination, trying to threaten like c2, b1 ideas, and then at the same time also simultaneously threatening this h4 and e5 pawns, which are both weaknesses. They're both isolated pawns, and trying to overload the queen at the same time. So very nice like tactical as well as positional motifs there. And yeah, hope you all enjoyed. Thanks for watching.
Bye.